Hello everybody and welcome back to our brand new episode of our F1 25 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we kick off the final 3 episodes of this series. 6 races remain, including 3 sprint races, so settle down because we've got a ton of F1 25 content coming out over the span of these next couple of days. I'm going to be cranking these out today, tomorrow, and Sunday due to the fact that we know the F1 26 career mode will be starting next Wednesday. So I want to be able to, on either Monday or Tuesday, of course, get the prologue for the F1 26 career mode out. And that's going to require getting this series all taken care of now as we come through straight into sprint qualifying here from COTA. And of course, the story from last episode as we moved on into Q2 or SQ2 over my teammate of Aiden Jackson. But the story has been Charles Leclerc, who's taken a very commanding lead in this championship after pure dominance in back-to-back races from Azerbaijan to the streets of Singapore, and now Leclerc's got relative control of this championship. Problem is, though, for Leclerc, we've still got 6 races plus the 3 sprint races left, so it's not going to be easy for him, but he was doing everything he needed to be doing here so far, at least in sprint qualifying, and as we come through into SQ3 at this point. I mean, although we are lacking some speed as a team, I was feeling that special feeling that we had in Spa as we come through into a wet SQ3, as you can see. But when we were in Spa, you know, we were lacking speed, but there was a feeling. There's a feeling I can get in this game where, like, the car is just hooked up with the track. And when I have that feeling, I can really excel and outperform a car that's really not that great. And that's kind of a situation that I was feeling right here. Now, of course, now it's raining. Might get a little bit different of a result. This is my best lap, and it was only P5, and at the end of SQ3, it would maintain 5th as Lando Norris, Leclerc, and how about the Red Bulls? 3rd and 4th with Colapinto, as well as Liam Lawson. Red Bull showing up this weekend, and Verstappen was down in P7 as we get ready to roll now. So, of course, we know the situation. Norris needs to beat Leclerc. Verstappen needs to beat Leclerc. Those are the guys that we're paying attention to. And Max Verstappen, with a rough qualifying effort in SQ3, puts himself already in really just a difficult position to be able to accomplish that goal. I mean, it's just, honestly, unless Leclerc crashes, I would pretty well write off Max Verstappen for an opportunity at this point of going in and, of course, beating Leclerc. So we've only got, I think, 7 laps of racing now, and for us, we're going to get aggressive on the run down into turn 1, or up into turn 1, I guess I should say here, but I am definitely confident in the pace now, especially the fact that, you know, in the dry conditions we went P5. That tells me a lot about the capabilities of us here this weekend now, as the rest of the field pulls up to the back of the grid, and now we are ready to go racing. Here we go. 7 laps for the sprint race in Circuit of the Americas. Lando Norris and Leclerc will lead us down into turn 1. Norris immediately comes across the nose of the Ferrari, covers him off. Some wheel spin for myself as we're one of the lone wolves up here on medium compound tires, surrounded by soft tires now. Clear of Pierre Gasly now as they're side by side for the lead of this race through the S's. Who's going to lift first? It'll be your championship leader of Charles Leclerc, still seeking his first ever Formula One World Championship, and he's going to have to hold off some big names. Your defending champ of Lando Norris, your 5-time world champion of Max Verstappen. It's not going to be an easy task for Charles Leclerc to be able to hang on to get that first world championship here this season, but Lando Norris in control right now, trying to gain at least just one single point over the Ferrari as we'll head down the long back straightaway. And towards the end of the straightaway, Leclerc is going to actually have a fight back here to the outside, and as I'm actually going 3 wide in the background of the inside of the Red Bull is a move that didn't really work out, so I ended up just staying put there in P5, but these two continue wheel to wheel, and it looks like Leclerc might actually come out on top. Yes, he will. Leclerc to the lead, and meanwhile, I am right on the back of the 2 Red Bulls scrapping, and I'm going to take advantage of this side-by-side battle. We'll get in front of Colapinto and bring the fight to Liam Lawson, the New Zealander. Now, as we'll poke the nose to the right side, it's going to be very close. I lift right there at the last second to make sure we avoid contact into the penultimate corner, and it wasn't until the second lap down the long Dira straight when we would have another opportunity to come back at the Red Bull. Now he's going on defense mode. We'll go around the outside here, just trying to outbrake him here into the braking zone, and he actually gets a really good center of the corner, but we fight back on the exit to get alongside, and now we'll clear him into the right-hander. And once I had completed this pass, that was quite literally it. I mean, literally nothing else happened throughout this race. So we're going to cut straight through towards the tail end of this sprint race now, coming to the final lap here. And it was still Leclerc leading by now a few seconds over Lando Norris. And Max Verstappen, who started 7th, had gone nowhere. Max Verstappen was still running P7 on this final lap. So there wasn't really anything to kind of, watch here in this sprint. I was hanging on. I was now comfortably ahead. Actually, Colapinto did lose a spot to Piastri, but that was literally it. So Leclerc would round the final turn, and he continues to do everything he needs to do and wins the sprint over Lando Norris. And we will bring it home here in the 3rd position. So I'm feeling good for the Grand Prix. I genuinely feel like we can pull something off there. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to go win, but, a podium in the Grand Prix as well would be a success at this point in the season. As we know, of course, we are definitely out of championship contention. It is what it is, but you see the rest of your finishing order. My teammate, Aiden Jackson, he actually gains a few spots from 18th on the grid to 15th by the end of things. Now, as we're going to jump into now a little bit later in the same afternoon Saturday, and in Q1, again, my teammate of Aiden Jackson completely fumbled. He's down in 20th, make it worse for him. I'm going to put him in 21st as I am able to comfortably get through into Q2, while Piastri and Red Bull showing up again, actually, in the top 10. So it was not a fluke, apparently, in the sprint, because they are definitely showcasing some serious speed. Now into Q2, this was a slight kind of sloppy lap originally, but I kind of picked it up towards the end of the lap and was very curious to see how this is going to turn out as we round the final turn, open that rear wing to the line, and we would actually go P7, and again, both Red Bulls are in fact through, but Max Verstappen is out in 12th place. That is nail in the coffin type stuff right there if he cannot rebound. Max Verstappen out in Q2 in a race where he absolutely needs to be gaining points on Charles Leclerc and has already given up 8 coming into the disqualifying, of course, from the sprint. Leclerc scored 8 with the win. Max Verstappen, Verstappen got 7, so he did score 2 points. So he gave up 6 points, as we round this final turn here in Q3. To the line, what's it going to be now for qualifying? It's going to be P3. How about that? We will take it. P3 on the grid in front of Leclerc. Piastri, Russell, myself, and Norris and Leclerc are all behind us. Their championship protagonists all kind of fumbled qualifying, and that turns into an opportunity for Piastri, for Russell, for myself here off the grid as we get ready to go racing here now Sunday afternoon. And you can see the split strategy, some on mediums, including myself, and some on softs. It's going to be a really interesting race to play out here, but I am confident if we can get a good run into turn 1 and just send it. And that's kind of my mentality now. There's nobody fighting for a championship in front of me, so we're coming up on the tail end of the season. I mean, why not just kind of have a bit of a send, like if the opportunity presents itself. Of course, we're not going to force anything, but if the opportunity's there, if the door opens, I am walking through it essentially now as everybody's going to now roll up towards the back of the grid, including my teammate of Aiden Jackson, as we are ready to go racing for the second of 3 visits in the United States here this season. 20 laps of racing, here we go now, and it's going to be holding lights out. We're racing here from COTA now, and it's an alright start, but not great from Piastri or Russell. And now we've got the run that we dreamed of. A lunge up the inside, 3 wide in the middle. Russell on the far left completely cuts the corner, and we're going to go through side by side with Oscar Piastri through into the S's clear. We've gone from 3rd to P1 on the grid here on the opening corners of Circuit of the Americas. And now the goal, quite simple, run away if possible. The question though is that going to be possible now as you see some absolute scrapping in the back there? Jackson going at it with one of the AlphaTauris now as Kimi Antonelli's got a ton of work to do in the back of the grid as we're just going to try, like I said, run away. But the question is, can we? Piastri is going to be about half a second, close to 0.6 of a second behind as we head down the long back straightaway. We should hopefully be able to hold on at least on this opening lap, but once DRS is enabled on lap 2, going to be a very different situation, of course, from that point and beyond. And as we round the final turn, coming to the end of lap 1, unfortunately, I had not really opened up a gap. So that kind of was already the sign of like, okay, definitely going to struggle here to pull away. And this is probably going to be a short-lived lead. And already I'm thinking about, okay, what are we going to do? If I do lose the lead, just hopefully allow Piastri to pull us along is really what we got to do. So Leclerc's in the back battling right now for 4th place with Liam Lawson, trying to figure that out, get himself forward right now. But he's still, again, even running 4th or 5th, Leclerc's still doing what he needs to be doing. He's beating Norris. He's beating Verstappen. Leclerc's just in control right now as we continue now. At this point, here comes Oscar Piastri showing the nose now on this 3rd lap at the end of the long straightaway. We'll be wheel to wheel. Not going to give this one up easy now. We'll fight for the lead for now, but I feel like this is only going to, be so long until Piastri's blowing my doors off, and it might be right here. Leclerc's now up to 4th in front of Lawson. And now as we head down this front straightaway, here comes Oscar Piastri. Look at the run from the Australian, and he takes his McLaren to the lead on lap 4 of 20 now. Gasly banks the fastest lap of the day so far as we exit turn 1. And now I said, okay, I'm just going to let Oscar pull me along because clearly there's a little bit more speed in his McLaren than my Connor Sport right now, and I'm just going to have him kind of let me save my battery and let him pull me along and hopefully even pull me away from the cars closest to us, like a Liam Lawson. And actually George Russell is now in front, Lawson got in front of Leclerc, and then Lawson also got in front of Russell, so he's now up to 3rd as Lance Stroll out with a mechanical failure here, so he will be the first retirement of the day. But as this run was going on, Leclerc had now jumped up to 3rd as Russell was falling off on his soft. So Leclerc gets back in front of Russell and Lawson. Norris down to P5 as Max Verstappen's coming in early. Verstappen's coming in on lap 9. He'll go onto a medium compound tire. He's not the only one coming into the pits as well, as he's got George Russell in with him. So they are pitting quite a bit earlier than everybody else, but you can see come lap 10 now, I'm all over the back of Oscar Piastri, so the pace difference is changing because now it seems like as that long run comes in, I've got the advantage and we're not wasting any time. Back to the lead. We are about to come into the pits here in the next couple of laps, so we also want to try and see, okay, can we build up a gap now? Now it seems like we've got that long run pace. The answer was absolutely not, because sure enough, come to the start lap 11, Piastri is going to lunge one back up the inside here into turn 1, and I go a little bit deep and wide there, and that allows him to get back out in front. So as we come up to the conclusion of this 11th lap, we will be pitting right here. So we'll be coming in and we're going to be putting on a soft tire we waited until the end of lap 12 before we came in. My mistake there, but we come in at the conclusion of this 12th lap, and like I said, soft tire going on. I was very surprised to see Piastri stay out until this happens. Leclerc comes in with Lando Norris, so now it makes sense why they're keeping him out an extra lap. Of course, priority is going to be on Lando Norris. My big question is, where's Max Verstappen? Because he pitted, on lap 9. That's 4 laps ago. Where is he going to come out in comparison to Leclerc? We're clearly in front of him, but as Leclerc exits, look at this. Russell's right beside him, and Max Verstappen's right behind. So Verstappen's still not enough to get in front, but that's a huge strategy call that's going to benefit the Aston Martin to at least get him in the top 5, as now Russell's clear of Leclerc into P3. That's crucial as well. We know at the end of this lap, Piastri should be coming in based off just having a lap of fresh tires on softs. We should be able to be in front of him, but again, I expect Piastri is going to have really good pace on the short run, and then we'll try to get him back on the long run. Here we go, down towards turn 1, already passing him as we head up the elevation into the corner. So to the lead of this United States Grand Prix now, as Russell continues in 3rd over Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, your top 5, and somehow Lando Norris has really got himself at the back of that group now. Not looking good for your defending world champion now, as Piastri was wasting no time running me down here as we come through to the long DRS straight on lap 15, and he's already here. So I already kind of, had chosen my medicine here. I'm like, you know what? You go past me. Once again, I'm going to save my battery. Going to have you pull me along. And then at the end of this race, I'm going to hope that your tires are just falling off a bit more than me, and we're going to get you back. Leclerc up the inside of Russell, contact into turn 1, and there's a winglet off the Ferrari. Now you see it go flying. Damage done to the Ferrari. Leclerc just simply understeered into the side of Russell, and that is moments right there where the championship leader, you can't afford to make those mistakes, and now he's all over the place. Misses 1 apex, misses 3, now maybe 4, as Verstappen's going to go around the outside and take P4 away from Leclerc, who's going to be under pressure now from Lawson and Norris as well. Oh my goodness, 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix at this point now, when Leclerc was on defense mode, as Verstappen had also gotten in front of George Russell and moved into P3. What a drive. That right there is a 5-time world champion drive from out of the points, a bold strategy move, holding on old tires and taking advantage of others, poor actions, and now you've got yourself on the podium. Is absolutely insane. Coming to the final lap of this Grand Prix, and we've got Piastri exactly where we want him. Now, as we lunge deep into the corner, we're going to have this entire straightaway to burn our battery out and try to pass him with the DRS. Here we go. Leclerc still in 5th, playing defense now, as we're going to have a lunge at Piastri up the inside into the braking zone. Now it's going to be close, but we're going to get him. He's going to try and get us back, but we can't, or he can't make it happen, and we stay in front of Oscar Piastri. Can you believe it? We won this race last season on a last lap pass against our teammate of Aiden Jackson, and we're going to do it again this season on a last lap pass against Oscar Piastri now, as we go through the final sweeping right-hand carousel, and Max Verstappen's going to end up in P3. Leclerc has been able to at least defend the Red Bull and the McLaren, all importantly, of Lando Norris, but we round the final turn. Win number 3 on the season here from Circuit of the Americas. We will absolutely take that. I really did not anticipate that coming into the weekend, but once we got on the racetrack and felt how, hooked up and how in tune I felt with the racetrack, it really just came naturally at that point now, and you just got to appreciate these wins, because we know there's only a few races left, and this could be the final one, as Max Verstappen gains 15 points, but overall still, I guess he loses a point to Charles Leclerc. So we'll take a look at your standings, of course, and see where everything stacks up. But nonetheless, Leclerc still made a mistake that you can't really afford. There you have it. 29 points on Norris, 32 on Max Verstappen. And that takes us now into the Mexican Grand Prix. And fortunately, no sprint here. We have a sprint next episode in, Brazil. Then we have a sprint in the last episode with Qatar. And then, of course, that finale in Abu Dhabi without a sprint, fortunately now. But coming through, into Mexico. This is a track I've always been a fan of, so I was definitely looking forward to it now, and straight into qualifying again. Q1 again, Aiden Jackson, shocker, completely fumbled. He's down to 19th, make that 20th for him, because I had jumped up to 13th place, but I could tell right there that I was like, yeah, I don't know if we've quite got the speed that we just had in Circuit of the Americas. Now, I was definitely feeling like I was lacking a little bit. So into Q2, kind of honestly, if I make Q3, I was going to be quite satisfied with that qualifying effort no matter what happens beyond that point. But as we round the final turn, overall was quite content with the lap that I had been putting down. And as we come through to the line, it's going to be P6. So very, very happy with that. Still 8/10 off. Russell, Sainz, Stroll, Bortoleto, and Isaac Hadjar, as well as Esteban Ocon out in Q2. And now into Q3, where again, those Red Bulls, man, those Red Bulls are looking good as we come into Mexico, as we go through the chicane and continue over the course of this lap to just set kind of, a lap that I was just all right with. It wasn't anything special, but it was okay, my expectation, probably 5th to 7th place lap that I was putting up on the board as we round the final couple of corners now. One right-hander to go, and hit the apex hard on the throttle now, but it got to be a little bit easy there. Use that overtake to the line, and surprisingly though, it was only P9. We're still 8/10 off, and Max Verstappen on pole over Lando Norris, and your championship leader Leclerc down in 5th. So Leclerc starting a little bit behind the A-ball as we go into the grid Sunday, getting ready to go, and now Max Verstappen and Lando Norris are going to share the front row, and they know what's at stake. Everybody in the top 10 on mediums. Russell, the first one on a soft in 11th, and a bit sporadic until you get down to 17th, and everybody from that point beyond we'll start on the soft compound tire. As for us, I feel like our mentality is a lot different for Mexico than it was in COTA. COTA was, we're racing for a win. Here, I think we're just kind of racing for points, unfortunately. It just does not seem like we have the pace that we need this weekend. It is crazy how just fast, like literally going from, you know, a loading screen from COTA to Mexico, and your pace is just completely different. But that's just the way it is. You know, some tracks are better for your car, some tracks are worse. And this is definitely a track that doesn't seem to suit this Connor Sport as much as a track like COTA just did. So it is what it is. We're going to make the most of it, and we're going to hope for the best. Now is that the Williams and Audi pull up to the back of the grid, and we are ready to go green one more time. 25 laps of racing. Here we go. We're racing from the Mexican Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, Lando Norris lead us to green. A lot of wheel spin out of my medium compound tires. That opens up the door for Carlos Sainz to pass me now. Russell and Stroll on softs, ready to pounce. Look at this three-wide action as well, and Leclerc as well, trying to make up some ground right off the bat on the run through these first few corners. Now is Verstappen trying to come back at Lando Norris. Now the two Ferraris wheel to wheel in the background. Now as Leclerc has had an absolutely fantastic start to this race. He has moved into P3 from 5th. That's a brilliant start right there from the Monegasque as he continues to watch his two drivers that are chasing him in the championship battle side by side. But Lando Norris is going to get that sorted out and come out in front of Max Verstappen. I was behind as well, a side-by-side battle of Oscar Piastri and as well the Haas just in front. So a great view of that, but they would also get that sorted out now as everyone's still trying to get things sorted now. A lot of side-by-side action all the way throughout the field, but Lando Norris is the one in control. As you see my teammate of Aiden Jackson getting after it with Kimi Antonelli right there as we now approach the end of this first lap as we go through the stadium section, one of the most unique sections of just racetrack here in Formula One. I mean, such a cool just area to go through now, especially like, you know, coming on the final lap and there's confetti and everyone's celebrating a winner. It's just really cool now as we already are going to be bringing the fight to Ollie Behrman as we head down towards turn 1. We'll pull alongside as we head down towards the corner. It feels like we're going so slow. We're only hitting about 200 miles per hour. But we'll clear him into turn 1. And then we've got this battle right here between Piastri and Doohan and Colapinto as well. And I'm going to pounce on the McLaren. Piastri kind of caught napping a little bit. And I'll dive it up the inside and we'll take the position away from the Australian. And now up into P8 we go as now lap 3. Here comes Max Verstappen, who's going to take the lead with DRS over Lando Norris. And Leclerc just doesn't right now quite seem to have enough to be up there with these guys. I say that, but over the course of the next few laps, Leclerc would actually get right up to the back of them and especially get up to the back of Lando Norris now as I am starting to put some pressure on the back of the Alpine of Jack Doohan. Alpine has had one heck of a final half of the season. They have really turned things up. They have been running fantastic. We've had Pierre Gasly up there on the podium as well. Doohan's a little bit off of what Gasly is capable of now as we're going to go for a move on Doohan. Kind of covered off Piastri right there. He had to lift, so we take P7 into turn number 1, and now we're going to go try to run down Yuki Tsunoda. But to my surprise, once I had completed this pass on Jack Doohan, everything kind of flatlined for me. My pace had started to kind of fall off, and really the reality was my rear tires were overheating for whatever reason, and I was trying to be a little bit more delicate on throttle input and maybe, you know, shift up a little bit earlier at times, but it really wasn't doing anything. Now is lap 5. Here comes Charles Leclerc now to the left side of Lando Norris. And how long can Norris defend this one? As they nearly make contact there on the exit of turn 1, they'll go side by side through the chicane. Wheel to wheel, Verstappen's going to be able to break DRS range. That's crucial. And Leclerc, in fact, gets through on Lando Norris. Now, I can confirm they would go through this kind of back and forth here with that DRS on the front straightaway for the next few laps, as we typically see as we come through now to lap 6. And unfortunately, I just don't have the speed. And Doohan is going to come back past me, and not only him, but Oscar Piastri as well is going to come back past me, as I'm going to turn the battery off as soon as they pass me so I can save some of that, because I did not have a whole lot remaining right there. But very just, I would say disappointing. Honestly, it is kind of disappointing because we just clearly have no pace. And I mean, I was even now under pressure from Ollie Behrman on the run into turn 1 come lap 7, but I'm going to make sure we defend over him. But yeah, I mean, what can you do at this point? You just kind of got to hang on here and hope that maybe something's going to go your way. You see me struggling a bit with grip just because of the tire temps, but I'm like, okay, we just got to hang on and get to the point where I can pit onto the hards. You don't want to come in too early, and I was just doing enough to at least maintain my gap to Doohan and still be in DRS and have him pulling me along. So that was really, really important, as Piastri was now in the mix of pulling away to a point by lap 11. He had driven 5 seconds away from us and had actually been up there with now Yuki Tsunoda fighting for 6th and 7th as we continue though right here with Jack Doohan. And we'll be coming in at the conclusion of this lap, and we'll be putting on the hard compound tire. We'll be one of the first, actually the first driver to come into the pits here, and we'll get this hard compound tire on and hope that we can kind of salvage the rest of this race, but things obviously aren't looking ideal at this point as we get back up towards the track here now, and we've got a few others coming into the pits behind us. Let's see what we can do though, as we now are approaching halfway through the Mexican Grand Prix. Max Verstappen in control. I mean, winning today for Max Verstappen isn't going to solve everything, but it's going to get him closer. And here he is pitting at the end of lap 13, or start of lap 13, with Leclerc and Norris as well, who actually comes out in front of Charles Leclerc. So now Norris in front. That's going to be interesting to see how they sort that out as this race continues on. For myself, waiting for just a few more drivers to come into the pits, and then we'll cycle up probably 9th or 10th. George Russell actually, he got a jump on me. Behrman and Doohan now coming into the pits, and of course with us pitting, I mean, like 3 laps earlier, we're going to come out in front of both of them. So now into P9, but only just literally on the front nose of Jack Doohan. So I know that he's going to be able to outpace me, but Lance Stroll, I think, will be probably safe from him. But now we are going to wait and see what George Russell does. Russell pitted so early because he started on a soft that at the end of this race, he's probably going to be falling off now as we get passed by Doohan. Actually, Lance Stroll, surprisingly, is going to be right here. So he's got a little bit more pace than I anticipated now, as again, coming up on these now final 10 laps of this Mexican Grand Prix. Just hanging on, you know, doing what I can. This kind of race sucks. You know, if we were in a back marker and we were doing this, I'm like, this is fantastic. But when we're in a Connor Sport, of course, it's not the best car on the grid anymore like it used to be. But yeah, this sucks. I'm just like, yeah, I can't do anything. We're just hanging on and bringing this thing home, and I'm bringing it around the racetrack, and you know, I'm giving it everything I have, and the pace just isn't there. And we're now outside of the points and only 2 seconds clear of my teammate of Aiden Jackson in these closing 10 laps. Watching, you know, battles up in front of me. George Russell now, by the way, has continued to fall down the order. He's currently down to 7th after being in front of the Red Bull and the McLaren of Piastri and the Red Bull, or sorry, and the Ferrari of Yuki Tsunoda. And as the laps continue on, his mediums that are way more worn than anybody else's mediums or my hard tires, he is definitely going to be dropping pace, and he's going to be vulnerable by the end of this Grand Prix. He's now been passed by Tsunoda as well. So the next group of cars that will be running him down is Doohan, Stroll, and myself. The question, though, is there enough time to get there? And I think there is, as we're coming to lap 20 at this point as well. Now, actually, we have Alex Albon pulling over. It's going to be race over there for him. Some kind of mechanical issue for the Williams. Race over there. And as that was all going down, coming to lap 20, Charles Leclerc gets himself back into P2 over Lando Norris. Norris knows he's got to be in front of Leclerc. Only 4 races remain following today's episode now, and you cannot afford to be giving up points now, as Max Verstappen has been basically just driving away little by little. Not like a dominant form, but he's been, you know, kind of creeping out away from those 2 guys behind him. And I don't think those that Leclerc and Norris are done battling quite yet. I think this is a battle that's going to continue on here for the next few laps, all the way probably until the end of this Grand Prix, because come to the start of lap 22, here comes Lando Norris back at Leclerc, and he clears him into turn 1. How about Pierre Gasly as well, running in P4 right now, having an absolutely fantastic run. As you can see, come to lap 23, there's George Russell. Russell is fading, and he's fading fast. This is going to get interesting. We need 1 position to get to top 10. I think we can pass, honestly, any of these 2 in front of us, given a right circumstance now, but I think George Russell might make it easy, because he is falling off so much that we should easily pass him before the end of this race. I say that, then again, these two in front of me are going to have to get through him as well, so that could make things a little bit tricky as we are coming up on just 2 laps to go, where Leclerc again back around the outside, clear of Lando Norris, as Verstappen is 4 seconds clear of these two now as they continue to scrap, but that could be the last opportunity right there for Lando, as now he drops into third. Now, as you can see, doing with 2 to go is all over the back of George Russell and the Mercedes. It's game on. Another driver that's falling off. Look on the track map, Piastri, the orange marker right there. Piastri is falling off for some reason as well, as here goes Doohan around the outside, and now up the inside here of Russell. They're going to continue wheel to wheel. I was trying to get a move up the inside of Stroll, just could not get the power down, so that did not quite work right there, so we're going to have to continue to wait. Doohan is clear of George Russell. We would have to follow all the way around to the end of the circuit now, to the final lap of this Grand Prix, and I can confirm Leclerc had been able to keep Lando Norris behind him, so it looks like Leclerc is going to manage P2, and Norris will have to settle for third. But here comes Lance Stroll at the Mercedes. Will he make a move? No, not quite close enough. Now, on this final lap, look up ahead, Piastri. Oscar Piastri dropping like a rock. We get up the inside of the fellow Canadian of Stroll. A lunge for P10 and clear. It's game on. We're going to waste no time with George Russell and Doohan on the back of Piastri. Max Verstappen wins the Grand Prix. We're not going to show it because there's a lot more drama happening here for the bottom part of the top 10. Doohan going for now an overtake on Oscar Piastri. We've got a run on George Russell, sweeping to the left side, wheel to wheel, 2 rows of side by side. Piastri's up the pace. We clear Russell. We're gonna send it full send into the stadium section, sliding the left front clear as the crowd roars, and we're gonna take the position from Piastri. What a final lap, what a finish, and we're gonna somehow go from 11th to P8 in a span of about half a lap. Unbelievable. What a finish. I mean, as frustrating as that race was, that might be the best 8th place finish I've ever had right there, just with how awesome the racing got at the end. Absolutely incredible stuff. And Max Verstappen, he gets to celebrate, of course, a victory, and all importantly, of course, he's going to be now closing that gap to Lando Norris. So that's going to be really interesting to see, to Leclerc. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how this turns out going into these next few races. Now, as we'll take a look at your updated standings now, and Leclerc, who had over a full race lead, is now at exactly a full race lead of 25 points on Verstappen, 32 for Norris, who's still not out yet. We're 68 out, and then Piastri at 90 points out. That does it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one from Brazil. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.